Trevor and Clive and the rest of Maritime Standard team for the invite today. And thank you for the fantastic night last night. It was a wonderful organization. So I'm going to take you through the tanker operation in the era of change from the perspective, well, generally from a holistic view, and then from a Gulf navigation perspective. To start with, I put this picture on the slide. I don't know. Does anyone know anything about the redwood trees? Show of hands. Anyone? No? Okay. It's a very interesting type of trees. They normally grow in the United States. They are the fastest growing trees and the tallest trees on planet. And the interesting fact is that the root of this tree is very, very shallow. So it's despite the fact that it goes up to 300, 400 feet, its root is only 1 meter kind of a deep. But the way it's shallow, it kind of, interacts with the neighbor trees to kind of, connect with each other and give strength to the tree to grow as fast as it can be and live as fast as long as it can be. And the reason I brought in this into the today presentation is just to kind of elaborate on what is meant by collaboration. It seems like there's something wrong with the presentation, but yeah. So I just wanted to basically reflect on how this tree kind of collaborate to give strength to the tree itself to grow and to live as long as possible. And I think we talked about collaboration in the morning. We talked about the need for collaboration. The entire industry wants this to happen, and I think this is a good example. So if you want to collaborate, then I think we have to focus on a few things. The wisdom of crowd is a very, very important element if we are really looking into how to collaborate. And a very recent study by one of the leading universities in the United Kingdom showed that the crowdsourced prediction or decision making is basically 30% better than working in a silo. So if we are, as an industry, want to come together, and I think we should take this as an example. In theory, we all talked about collaboration, but in practical way, I mean, we still haven't seen anything in terms of how should we collaborate as an industry, how should we come together and then make this collaboration more effective. Moving forward, just going to touch base a bit on the market. So the market outlook is quite positive. I think the rate is quite good. The order book is supportive, and the supply and demand is very good. But does the market mode support the outlook? And I think this is what we need to find out over the next few weeks. So we've seen the rate cut started a few weeks ago. I think we will see maybe another one tonight. We will see maybe another one towards the end of this year, and maybe more next year. But what's the after-party result? So the Chinese economy is still kind of in a shadow area. This week, the whole week has been a busy week in China. The decision maker and policy maker are influencing the Chinese economy, putting more stimulus. They're promising more support to the economy to kind of bring it to the level that they have promised to bring it. They wanted to reach a GDP of 5%. But obviously, this is still yet to be discovered, I think, tomorrow or the day after. The unknown has become known. See, the U.S. election has come to an end. We've seen the result yesterday. But what will be the impact on the shipping industry? I think this is also still a fact that we need to discover on the next few weeks or so. Obviously, that's going to also impact on the tension in the Middle East and the conclusion on the resolution of the conflict. So now, obviously, everybody talks about risk and how can we manage risk, and to move from risk to a resilience. I think we need to look into the entire kind of a landscape. From a tanker perspective or tanker operation perspective, we have three main elements, which is basically transportation, production, and storage. I think we are all bullish about the production. So we've, as Ali mentioned earlier, the population growth is kind of, in a very, very high speed, which is basically means more demand and more growth in the oil production. The storage is also another element which is very, very important. We are, if we take the region as an example, we're a little bit behind in terms of capacity. I think we have only contributed 6% so far to a 30% production or global production of oil and chemical and petrochemicals. So there's a bit of a catch up in that area. From a purely tanker transportation perspective, I've just put a kind of a projection to an MR investment kind of a portfolio. This is based on certain assumption which doesn't maybe apply to everybody, but I think the numbers are quite positive. So the three elements, making the tanker operation is quite positive and encouraging, but obviously associated with quite high risk. So really managing risk while not impacting the workflow is quite important when it comes to the tanker operation. So as Gulf Navigation, what we have done recently to kind of safeguard our business and future-proof the operation of the company, we looked at enhancing the performance by implementing new solutions. We've partnered with one of the leading companies on the painting. So we've done a complete conversion of our fleet from all the different typical coating to marine line coating. So we have now more offering to the market in terms of type of products, type of transportation routes, and so on and so forth. And that's resulted eventually to reducing apex and being more compliance with the environment. In terms of opportunities, I think, as I mentioned, the tanker market is quite positive, but obviously associated with risk, and that made us think about creating a different, venue of our revenue growth. And now we're looking at different avenues of revenue, which basically is storage and what's associated with it in terms of, alternative fuel storage, bunkering, and making kind of an infrastructure to the industry, which is, I think, so highly needed, as we've heard in the morning. We also focusing on the ancillary services. We created a technical management company at back end of last year, which is now up and running with wide offering of services, and we're also continuing our efforts to kind of disrupt the industry when it comes to the port operation and agency services. Yeah. So the concluding thoughts is basically obviously the operation efficiency is very important, but it has to come with responsibility. And I mean by responsibility is basically the environment responsibility. Technology, I think, as an industry, we're still a bit behind. I see our industry is quite behind when it comes to technology comparing to other industries, and I think there is a lot to catch up on. But this is a very important element that we need to focus on. And finally, I think proactive approach is always the right approach when it comes to safeguarding your operation. And the takeaway of this presentation is basically, yes, we need to focus on operation efficiency, but also we need to be responsible to our environment. So if we really, and I think we'll do love our children and grandchildren, we need to make sure that we leave them a planet that's green and sustainable. So thank you, everybody, and wish you enjoy the rest of the day.